Python concept video by N. Kaushik Reddy, ECB. So, topic is advantages of loops. What are the advantages of loops? We are going to see here. There are two types of loops. One is for loop and while loop. This plays major role in detail. We'll see here. Python loops. The flow of the programs written in any program language is sequential by default. Sometimes we may need to alter the flow of the program. The execution of a specific code may need to be repeated several number of times. For the purpose, the programming language provides various types of loops which are capable of repeating some specific code several number of times. So it can example we have while loop for when we want to execute the program for n times we use while loop. For fixed times we use for loop. So consider the following diagram to understand the working of a loop statement. Loop body, if condition is true, if condition is false. Okay, if condition is true, then the uh, condentation written in this condition will be executed, otherwise the false statement will be executed. Why we use loops in Python? The loop simplifies the complex problems into the easy ones. It enables us to alter the flow of program so that instead of writing the same code again and again, we can repeat the same code for the finite number of times. For example, if we need to print the first 10 natural numbers, then instead of using the print statement 10 times, we can print inside a loop which runs up to 10 iterations. So, uh, uh, by wasting of time, we cannot print every time the print of 10. So, we can use a iteration which can print automatically 10 times by using some loop in Python. Now, advantages of Python: it provides code reusability, and using loops we can do not need to write the same code again and again. Using loops we can transfer over the elements of data structures such as array or linked lists. So here it provides the code reusability. What is reusability? We can use the statement for many times and uh, up to where we want to get the value, so that we can use some range and we can find the answer for our problem. Using loops we do not need to write the same code again and again. As we see it before, we have to do iteration which can print the number of times we want. And using loops we can transfer our elements of data structures, arrays such as linked and list. Now we can see a table here, and for loop statement, for loop, the for loop is used in case where we need to execute some part of code until the given condition is satisfied. First, first every loop must be satisfied and it should be true. Then only the given iteration is executed. The for loop is also called as per tested loop. It is better to use for loop if the number of iteration is known in advance. And while loop, the while loop is to be used in the scenario where we don't know the number of iteration in advance. So while loop we cannot guess the last value, so it prints n times, it prints like infinity times. So the block statement is executed in the while loop until the condition specified in the while loop is satisfied. So block statements means we use some built-in functions such as continue, break, return. These are used in while loop majorly. So it can stop the function and it can get out of the loop. And this while loop is also called as pre-tested loop. So it is also called as pre-tested loop. And the third type of loop is do while loop. The do while loop continues until a given condition satisfies. So until the condition is true, it prints the number of times. Um, and it's also called as post-tested loop. It is used when it is necessary to execute the loop at least once. So at least once this loop is executed, then in second time, whether the case is satisfied, then it will get out of the loop. Otherwise, uh, it is it is it will work until the given condition is satisfied. For loop using sequence, so we can see so you can see the structure of this for loop, where to use and when to use. Literation string is using for loop. String is, first let us take a string in double quotes Python, and for I in string, then print of I, then it prints p y t h o n. So output is like p, it prints every letter vertically. So here limit is there, but when it comes to Python to print the sum of, as an example, Python to print the sum of given list, so you take a list 10, 30, 23, 43, 65, 12, and sum equal to 2 0. First we have to take whenever we want to take a while loop, we have to give a count, so that the count will start from 0 and to n numbers it will occur. So uh, count will be mandatory when using for also and while also. And then we take sum is equal to sum plus I, then print sum is, then it gives the output 10 plus 23 plus 43 plus 65 plus 12, and which is equal to 183. So it adds all the elements of the list and it gives the output. And while loop is also used when we don't know the, such as examples, we take sum of n natural numbers, then we use while loop, and taking count is equal to 0, and we know the formula of sum of n natural numbers. N natural numbers, n into n plus 1 by 2. Like that while loop is executed for n times. If we want to keep a range, we will uh, if we want to keep the range, we should give a condition under while loop, such as the x value should not exceed the 10. So the values, the output will print the statement up to the 10 values of x. Then when it comes to x is equal to 11, it will get outside of the loop. So this while loop is used. One thing is one thing we should understand is while loop is used when we don't know how exact the values are located and where the n bit is there. So for loop, we have seen for finite times, whenever we want to find the sum of n terms and product of n terms, and cost of a things, and etc etc, we use for loop. And do while loop, this loop will give the output whenever the equation satisfies for first time, then second time it will get out of the loop, or else it will continue to satisfy the equation, which is necessary to execute at least once. It means at least once it should be executed. Okay, so this is it all the advantages of a small topic. So thank you for giving me this opportunity.